Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Tiffany Herawati. I'm with my friend LRRH Abiseka from 11 Science 2. Today, we will tell you a story about Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Whenever she went out, the little girl wore a red riding cloth, so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood asked her mother if she could go to visit her grandmother, as it'd been a while since they seen each other. "That's a good idea," her mother said. So they packed a nice basket for Little Red Riding Hood to take to her grandmother. When the basket ready, the little girl put on her red cloak and kissed her mother goodbye.
Suddenly, from out of the trees, appeared a wolf dressed in fine clothes. No one had ever told Little Red Riding Hood about wolves, so she was not afraid when he said, "Hello," said by the wolf. "Hello," she replied. "I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to stop. My mother said I must take these groceries quickly to my grandmother because grandma isn't very well," said by Little Red Riding Hood, while a little bit afraid. "Then I know exactly what your grandmother would love," said the wolf. "All grandma love bluebells. They're just over there, among the trees." The wolf watched Little Red Riding Hood pick bluebells, then licking his lips, he raced swiftly through the deep dark forest to Grandma's cottage. The wolf then tied up Grandma and then locked her up in the dresser. Then the wolf immediately pretended to be the grandma. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandma's house, she found the door open. As she peered into the unlit room, she could just see the shape of her granny in bed. She crept closer. Her grandma didn't look her usual self. "Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have!" sighed by Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to hear you with, my dear." But Little Red Riding Hood still not believe it, so she asked again. "Grandma, what big eyes you have!" said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to see you with, my dear." But she not believe it again. "And Grandma, what big teeth you have!" "All the better to eat you with," cried the wolf as he jumped and gobbled her up in one big gulp. Just then, a woodcutter was on his way home for lunch. He heard all the noise and wondered if the old lady where lived there was all right. So the woodcutter immediately go to the grandma's house. Rushing in to see what was happening, the woodcutter found the big bad wolf with a full tummy. With the blow of his axe, he killed the wolf, stone cold. Then he snipped open the wolf and found Pop, a very frightened Little Red Riding Hood. "Where's my grandma?" she asked. Then they see a sound from the wardrobe. They opened it, and it was Grandma. "He tied me up when he heard you coming, my dear," cried Grandma, as she hugged Little Red Riding Hood with much, much, much of love. So does Little Red Riding Hood hug her grandma. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood never stopped to pick up bluebells in the woods as she hurried to Grandma, and she never saw another wolf again. And they lived happily ever after. The end. The moral of the story is, we have to be careful with a stranger. That's all, folks. Thank you. I, LRRH Abiseka, and my friend Tiffany say thank you to you all that have heard our class story. Goodbye and see you later.